All right, you already know what we're doing here, so real quick run through. We got 2nd gen Tacoma. I have warped rotors. I don't know how old these are, but they're not grooved too bad. You can see the grooving though, but they are warped and causes a lot of vibrations, pretty annoying. So we're changing that up. I got TRQ rotors here, not sponsored or anything like that, just telling you what I'm running. And some off-brand, whatever, ceramic pads. So we're gonna break this guy down real quick, swap this stuff over. So yeah, let's just get in here. We got a 12 right here that we're gonna be dropping, and a 10 right here. That way you can separate these two brackets, pull the ABS away from the brake line. Then also there is this clip right here that you'll need to undo so you can separate those, and we can then drop, I believe these are 17s right here. We'll drop these two. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. So we'll pull those two, break down the pad setup. It's pretty straightforward. They got these in this way, but usually they're oriented out, but, oh, sorry. Okay, so yeah, we got these little cotters here, or keepers. We'll pull that, same on the bottom, pull that, slide those pins, pull this spring, and then these guys will come out. I'll show you how to do that real quick. All right, to start off, we're gonna pull the 10 first, because if you don't pull this guy, you pull the 12, then this one's a pain. So pull 10 first, then 12, and then we'll undo this clip. I'm gonna do that right now. I need both hands. All right, 10, 12, pulled. Now we just gotta do this clip, and just so you can see how it works. There's two ears like that. So anyway, that will separate your ABS line. Sorry for the shakiness, but ABS is separated and the brake line is separated. So now I just gotta drop the 17s, but before I do that, we're gonna pull these pins. Like I said, you can see there's a little keeper right there. Let's see if I can spin this guy around. There you go. And you just get yourself a pair of needle nose, or whatever you can grip it with, and it just pulls right out. So we'll yank top and bottom, and then you gotta drive these pins out a lot of times, but I take pretty good care of my stuff, so mine's not super nasty. But anyways, so there's a pin. I'll do the same to the bottom real quick, and I'll show you how this spring looks. This is what a new one, this is what this looks like when it comes out of there. So it'll be oriented in this exact orientation. So whenever you put this in there, you're gonna go in each of these guys, you know, and then it'll squeeze together like that. But the part that always trips people up is you gotta push the spring in first. This spring has to be in there first before you can put the pin back in, because as you can see, the pin goes through the spring. So once we pull that like that, then you can kind of see, sorry for the blurriness, but see exactly how it works. Anyways, all right, so once we got that done, now we're going to have to compress the pistons. And a lot of guys will do like a bleeder setup, or they'll put a bleeder bottle up here and compress it so the fluid that you're compressing will come out. I usually just crack the reservoir, and I'll show a couple of shots of what it looks like when I first started, and then after I compress it, how it raises the fluid and everything like that. But if you're keeping your pads, you want to be careful about how you wedge. So you want to make sure, like maybe a small pry bar, something like that, but you want to wedge on the rotor itself and try not to gouge anything. These are pretty resilient, but the pads, not so much. My case, I'm changing all this, so it doesn't really matter all that much for me. Yeah, you can see how I'm just slowly pushing that. And as I do that, you'll want to be mindful if you don't do the bleeder setup, because it's going to start transferring, displacing that fluid that's in these pistons up to the reservoir. And I already did the other side, so we're kind of riding high right now. But you can see my max line. When I started this brake job, before I did the other side, I was at the max, but I've raised it. And once you do that and you swap out the other side, like I said, it's already done. I get back in the truck, fire it up, and you know, just slowly work the brake pedal to push the fluid back into that other side and adjust it. But on this side, I'm probably gonna have to suck a little fluid off the top of this, but we'll see. So I'm gonna adjust these out and I'll come back and show you what this looks like as I adjust it out. But I have a feeling we're gonna be in the neck. All right, I just wanted to show kind of what this looks like as you're doing this. And again, I'm not keeping these pads, so that's why I'm wedging where I am. But if you were, you would not want to wedge between the pad and the rotor like I am. But I just wanted to show you that I'm just applying gradual pressure, and you can see the pistons collapsing. And that's what you want to do, so you can create space for your new pads. And then also be mindful of that fluid, like I said. You can see all the space we've created. And I just left these in here to wedge on it. And then without the pins and stuff, they just slide right out. So we can go ahead and pull these out. And because they're, like I said, they're trash. They're heat cracked. You can see the cracking, and yeah, they're just trash. All right, so we got those out. Everything's compressed. We're ready to remove this guy. I got the bottom 17 out. Just the top one is in right now. And you need to find some way to support this, because this is your leash. You just got this much. So I usually use a piece of weld wire, TIG wire, and I just bent it into like a little Z dilly here. Goes right there, and it's pretty stout. This guy just hooks into this backside right here. So I'll just pull this off, hang it right off the frame. All right, just like that. She's over there. And then rotor, sometimes they need a little love, you know, a little tap or two to get them off here. But okay, we got the rotor and caliper back on. I anesthetized the inside of this lip here. That way it doesn't try and stick to the hub. And at this point, I will wait to do the pads. I'll go ahead and torque everything down just so I don't miss anything. But there's not a lot to do here. So we got the 17s, they're at 91 foot-pounds, top and bottom, just the two. And then up here we got the 12 and the 10 mil. I haven't put them in yet, but basically you'll just want to make sure that that little ear is lined up. There you go. Drops in. This guy goes in front like that. And then we got a little clip down here that just clips in. And then, so I'll drop that hardware in there. And these are supposed to be torqued to 9 foot-pounds. I never torque them. I just snug them up. And another thing, if you have some or you don't, you should get some. But I anti-seize all of my hardware, especially for the suspension stuff. It gets so freaking rusty and nasty, and you'll thank yourself in the future, especially if this is your truck and you plan on keeping it for a while. Whenever you go to service things, stuff just goes together so nice, and more importantly, comes apart nice. You don't twist anything off. But anyways, all right, so like I said, 12, 10, 9 foot-pounds. You do what you want. I just snug mine. And then 91 on 17s. So I'm gonna get that done, and then we'll slap these pads in and we'll be done. So we're gonna prep these pads real quick and get them slapped in. Get you some grease. A lot of times your stuff will come with a molly grease. And this is just to silence things and also make them slide a lot easier. So you'll put it on this back plate right here. I also do any of the contact surfaces. So you'll grease the edges that I talked about smoothing out, the top and bottom, so they slide in there real nice. Then I also grease my pins. So I'm not using a ton of grease. I mean, you could do whatever you want. I'm using literally, it's like a pea size, maybe a large pea size amount of grease, and it goes a long ways. I mean, as you can see here, I coat that whole back plate, and then I just do the top sides. Some might do more, some might do less. This is what I do. You do whatever you want. And then same for the pins, nothing too crazy, just enough. And then make sure that any excess, if you do have excess, that gets scraped off when you put it in there or whatever, make sure you clean that off, because you don't want that getting on your rotor or anything, or on your pads. And yeah, now we just slide this guy up in here, but I need possibly 2 hands to do it, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. And yeah, no, we don't. So anyways, we'll get that guy wiggled up in there and then make sure everything's lined up. Then for the bottom here, if you recall, we talked about the way this is oriented. So these ears, these like little nubs right here, they go towards the outside, or you know, there you go, like that. So you go like that, and then I like to put my keepers on the outside. I don't know if there's a rule on that or not, but that's what I do. So anyways, put them like that, and the same for the top, just like that. We'll put our keepers in, and then you're done. Quick overview. So keepers are in, pins are greased, contact surfaces are greased on the pads, 91 foot-pounds on the 17s, 9 foot-pounds on the 12 and 10, and 83 foot-pounds on the lugs. Not gonna bother with showing you how to put the wheel on and stuff, because you already know. But anyways, appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully this helped you kind of just give you a rough run through on how to do front brakes on a 2nd gen Tacoma. Probably applies to others, but mine's a 2nd gen. Anyways, you guys have a good one. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I appreciate you. Have a good day. Thanks.